Okay, Matthew.
Yes.
We're back.
You know,
Do I always say we're back?
I think when you're bi-weekly like we are, and then it's been a month since we've done one, it always feels like we're back because we don't do it enough.
Uh-huh.
Just feel like normal. So it's just natural to say, hey, we're back.
We're back.
'Cause it always feels like we don't do it enough.
This is Pedal Pushers. I'm Zach,
Matthew.
and we've been busy.
Wow.
Building and when this comes out, releasing officially our next product.
The Herculean Deluxe is now live and out there.
Yeah.
Although some people already have some. Kind of an interesting launch for us. You know, we last time we did a show was over a month ago.
Yeah.
And we had the NAMM show, and then we came back and we had to try to get all of these pedals done before launch day.
Yeah.
And we kind of did it.
Yeah. Well, for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we were bound by what we knew to build.
Yes.
So when dealers, we're at the whim of the dealer.
That is correct.
So we did the best we could.
But we did it. It's out there. Hopefully you've pre-ordered yours, or you have it already, or you're ready to pre-order today, or whenever you're listening to this. Maybe you're listening to this 5 years from now, and now you're just going to go buy it at your local store because it's sitting right there.
You're going to get it on Reverb because Mythos has gone belly up.
Wow. Dang.
No
way, man. This pedal is we're going to be eating forever on this pedal.
I hope so.
I think so. So let's talk about it a little bit.
Okie dokie.
Wait, we introduced ourselves, right?
Uh-huh.
And the show, we're Pedal Pushers.
Yes.
We're going to push a pedal today that we make, which is exciting. And don't forget to like and subscribe and recommend it and comment and do all the things that make the algorithm go good.
Leave us a review.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't know what people do for podcasts, which is funny because I have two of them.
Yes. And you don't know what to. What do you say on
I let Rhett say everything.
Rhett does all that. He's a professional.
Yeah. If he doesn't say it, then it shouldn't be said.
He has to be at least good at that.
Well,
that's important. First stray bullet at Rhett. 5 minutes in. All right. So the Herculean Deluxe, a little different launch than how pedals get launched now. Everyone's known about it for a while.
Yeah.
Normally they'd be discovering it today.
Yeah.
But they've known about it. Why did we do it that way, Zach?
Well, because we wanted to take it to NAMM.
We wanted to take it to NAMM. Yeah.
We can touch on the NAMM show because have we talked about it on the podcast?
We did some live stream stuff.
Yeah.
But not on the official podcast.
So yeah, we took it to the NAMM show. We wanted to have it on the floor so people could play it and see it.
Yes.
Dealers could play it, see it. And so we thought, well, let's just announce it and then we'll ship it when it's ready.
Yeah.
But to be fair, a lot of people kind of do that thing where
in other categories, guitars, amps, they usually announce it and then it ships later on that year.
Right.
Pedals, that doesn't happen usually. Usually it's announced day and date that it's available. That's kind of how things go. You get the suite of YouTube videos, all that jazz that we've talked a lot about on this show. We were kind of shooting to be in stores around NAMM, and it just, as a small builder, it didn't really work that way.
No.
We needed a couple more weeks.
Yeah, and we can touch on why it took so long. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But yes.
But yeah, it just felt right to have it at the show, regardless of whether or not you could buy it. But I think it was good because the reception at the NAMM show was fantastic.
It was phenomenal. Yeah.
And it was good to kind of, let your kid go out and play and see what happens.
And very valuable for the variety of players that we got to hear play it when it's only been us for how long?
Yeah. I mean, this has been at least 6 months.
Yeah.
Of work.
But we'll get to that part. Let's start at the very beginning, right? We made a new pedal. The Herculean Deluxe has launched. What is it, Zach?
It's a 2-in-1 overdrive.
Hey.
That is
innovation here at Mythos Pedals.
Well, I mean, people have been asking me to do it.
Yes.
And so many folks would just say, put a Mjolnir with this or this and that. And we felt like these two circuits, I have the originals over there, felt like they paired the best and gave something that nothing else we currently make gives players. And so that was the whole thing. I loved the old Herculeans. I felt like it was, it never had its time to shine. And I wanted to kind of reinvigorate that name and that circuit and And I think that it was the natural step to re-release that sort of pedal name.
Yeah.
And have it as a 2-in-1.
And here we go. I'm so bad at this. You're so much better at this. There it is.
I got to cover my face.
Oh, you're doing a great job. So there it is. It's Herculean. Like you said, it's the Herculean, which is should be known to most myth heads, and also the Runestone, which is another classic pedal. So two pedals, like you said, that we didn't think got as much shine as they did, and paired together, they worked really well. I want to get into the details of how that came together, but I want to kind of just start with just telling people about this. Like, what does it do? Obviously, it's a 2-in-1.
Yeah.
But what are some of the sort of the features of this guy?
So the left side is the Herculean side, and that, in my opinion, is like the Swiss Army knife overdrive. It does a little bit of everything. It has a fair amount of gain. The EQ controls, clarity and bass cover a really wide range, and it can do everything from super clear to really thick and like saturated, compressed feeling stuff to really dark and or like smoky and dumping all the bass, you get a whole different tone. So it really covers a huge range of sounds on that side. Then the Runestone side on the right is the Bluesbreaker thing, but tweaked a lot because I straight up hate the originals. I hate them.
Well documented on your social channels that you are not a fan of that.
I mean, like, and they have good sounds in them, but I don't think having a pedal that has like one or two good sounds is silly to me. And I feel like the originals, that's just kind of how it is. You have to really goose it because they don't have a lot of output. So it tries to remedy a lot of those shortcomings. So a lot more gain, a lot more output, better EQ, in my opinion. So really what it does is it just combines two really versatile pedals in one. You get the order toggle and all that, so you can just have
order switcher,
every combination.
Yes.
For the average player, I think it's going to be, and I don't mean average in a demeaning way. I just think like for all of us, it's going to cover 90% of what you're going to need.
Yeah,
from an
and
overdrive.
I think that's it's a bold idea. I think to say that every single guitar player will like this pedal.
Yeah,
I mean, but what else are we making stuff for if that's not the case? And I do believe that there's enough variety in here, and it's it's not the pedals themselves don't just put you in a box.
No,
Of saying like this is, like you said, this is what it really does well, because I think both sides could be boost pedals, both sides can be drive pedals, both sides can be really gainy if you want to.
Yeah.
You can mix and match with that with the order switcher. You can figure out how you want to approach it. And I think that, when we say, we want this to be the most versatile pedal that you own, and it's definitely the most versatile pedal that we've made.
yeah, from an overdrive stand. I mean, like, and that's the whole thing. I mean, the whenever we were planning like the copy and all this stuff for this,
Yes.
I said, this is your drive section, and that's really what we think. We want this to be like, this really can take the place of a lot of stuff. And I played a gig with it this past weekend. It was on a board, which was, I say gig. I played 2 songs.
That's a gig, baby.
I guess I guessed it at a gig.
Yeah.
And it was really fun, getting to use it. Of course, like it was an interesting use case because it wasn't like my gig and stuff. It would have been very different if I'd had time to like. I walked on stage and played a couple songs with Corey Congilio.
Yes.
So I had about like 30 seconds to go,
and make sure everything was working.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah. And then to continue the versatility, there are some switches inside.
Yes.
That users can use to sort of tweak the tone further.
Yeah.
We ship it how we think it sounds best, or at least, in generality, right?
Right.
Everything sounds good, but this is sort of our best guess at like what most people might like.
What the expectation from the pedal should be.
But we are very encouraging on this one to try that stuff out.
Yeah.
It's really fun to kind of fiddle with that and see what you like.
Yeah, because we're very different in that respect. Because you don't open and tweak.
I will say I straight up hate it. Like, I hate all that stuff. I want you to tell me what sounds good.
Yeah.
And I'm more open to it on this one because I think I kind of understand the goal of the pedal is going to be, because it's not something that I've really like. Even the 2-in-1s that I have are like one knob kind of things, and it's like I like it as simple as possible, but I'm willing to listen on this one, and I hope other people that are like me will try this out.
Yeah, and the whole idea for the clipping, because internally there's clipping switches, there's a bank of 4 switches, and then there's a presence trimmer for the Runestone side. But the clipping switch, because I talked about having it on the face.
We did discuss that.
There was many mock-ups. This thing went through probably the most like graphic iterations, because for those that don't know, I build things backwards. I come up with the aesthetic first, and say this looks right, this feels right, and then I start laying out the circuit board to correspond to that. But internally, so the Runestone side, you can have no clipping. Both of them, you can just turn all the clipping off. You have no clipping, soft clipping, hard clipping, or both. And then on the Herculean side, you can have no clipping. We call stock, which is we might update that on the next batch of boards. It's it's symmetrical soft clipping, and then Zen mode, which is what we ship it with, which is my favorite, which is MOSFET with germanium, NOS germanium diodes. So it has this like big bloomy compression thing. But having all of that, you just get like, it's not an infinite number of sounds, but you can say, oh, this is a little too harsh around the edges. Let's try this. Or I want this to be more of a boost with less gain and more output. Let's try this. So there's a lot of flexibility from from only 4 switches. You get a huge number of sounds.
There you go.
So
and the decision to put it inside, as we discussed, is that yes, we like the idea that this pedal has tons of versatility. We like that there's all kinds of different ways you can use it. But we anticipate people finding what they want to use it for, and then sort of honing in on that, and then going for it.
Ron Popeil, you set it and forget it.
Yes.
And that's, I mean, like, I love having internal switches. If every pedal had something that would do something inside, I would be
delighted.
Like all about, it's like, oh man, I can't wait to get the screwdriver out and just go click.
Yeah.
But there is nothing more frustrating when the stuff exists and you can't tell it's doing anything. Which for some circuits that is a thing. It's like, but I feel like in this one it's like it's definitely obvious what's happening, but it's not like so night and day that you're like, well, this needs to be on the face.
Well, and we talk about that a lot. It's like we're talking about use case scenarios, right?
Yeah.
Which is that if you're what are you designing the pedal for? Now, if you're designing a pedal that needs to get an amazing amount of sounds, that's incredible versatility, and you want to change this and change that, there are people that or pedals that get made which you have a lot of those features that you can change. A lot of those are like studio kind of uses to where you might have lots of stuff, but we're trying to make something for like gigging musicians and people that are just gonna we don't want to have option paralysis for people that are like, oh my god, this changes things so much, I need to have this. Like, how many times are you going to be changing something like this constantly, right?
I don't think that
that's
often.
hard. I don't think of that often.
I mean, like, to me, it's like if you need an infinitesimal number of options, just get an HX Stomp.
Yes.
And use it just as an effects pedal or something. Like, I think like keeping it pure and analog and simple for this sort of thing is the best way.
Yeah.
And also we were trying, like we could have gone even crazier, but we're trying to be at a price point and be competitive and enticing while keeping it sounding true to what we expect.
And that's also part of this too, is this making sure, I mean, the reason why, and we'll get down to that on the next section, the reason why the pedal came together is because these circuits sounded really good together. And the more features you add, the more you might stray away from that. Yeah. And then suddenly get something that might not mesh that well. And you got to be careful of that too.
That's
not what we're trying to do here.
There is a limit to how much flexibility you can add, because I've always said, and I think we've experienced this, and more in this modern day with all the things that all the different amps and pedals that exist. Yeah. The more features you add, the more you're taking away from something. So I like to keep it just simple, so that it sounds like there's a lot in there, and there kind of is, but it's not that crazy. It's not like we're changing tone stacks or or completely reorganizing the circuit. It's just minor things that really shift the tone one way or another. But I'm really happy with it. I think all in all, sonically, it's really good. I'll never be 100% happy with it because I'm a nut. But I'm like all of the pedals. There's always something that's like, I wish it did this. And
V1 baby.
Yeah.
Be one for a long time. So the last thing I want to talk about as far as an overview of the pedal is the look.
Yeah.
So, it looks like a Mythos pedal, which is nice.
That makes sense.
You say that, and sometimes
right.
we have hit on something here as far as the aesthetic of the pedals. And I think that it was a little bit of a struggle over the last 6 months to get it to this spot.
I think so, because
we've had a lot of them that we could pull up that I would say that looks like trash ass, bro.
Well, yeah.
But you got to go through the trash to get the treasure.
Yeah, it's
right.
I mean, like designing stuff is such an iterative process.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's kind of like I try to push the envelope with, like, when we're doing something new and different.
Yes,
I mean, this is 2-in-1, and we've done the Seuss Mariosep, which is 3-in-1. It's not like I haven't made a multi-effect, quote unquote, multi-effect pedal. But having it feel cohesive with the brand is kind of hard because you want to push it and push it into someplace new and enticing. But yeah, I think what we landed on was just the font. That's our logo font, and then kind of tightening up the rest of the fonts so they're a little bit more cohesive. I mean, that's a thing. Graphic designers will just argue till they're blue in the face, like the number of fonts that should be on like a poster or a magazine cover or whatever.
Yes.
Like you want to keep it tight so it doesn't feel like really disparaging. And now that I've said that, please go look at other guitar pedals and see how many fonts exist on them. It's pretty funny when you look at some, especially some old school stuff. You're like, wow, there's 5 fonts on this thing.
But I think we have a template that we can follow, sort of the design of our pedals now, and to get them to look really interesting and unique and cool, but stay within that, I think, is a challenge. And
it is.
And I think that we nailed it on this one because there is a lot more going on the face of the pedal than some of our other stuff, because we've got 7 knobs and we've got 2 foot switches and we got a switcher, and so to make sure that I think you nailed it, bud.
Well, and I think a lot of that came down to, and this is one of those things, and I've said this before, that you don't know until you get it in your hand.
Yeah,
because like we mock it up, and I don't mock anything up in 3D. We probably could.
Yeah,
but even when you do that, it's like it still doesn't feel the same. But yeah, the font and the balance of everything, and then with the colors.
Ron Burgundy
powder coat. We knew as soon as we saw it on Prismatic's website.
We had to have it.
But doing that with the off-white print, which you might not realize when you look at it in a photo, but all the ink is actually kind of yellow.
Yes.
But it works really well, and it balances well. But there's a lot of things on here that people won't even really know. Like because the box that goes around, the bottom, where it goes to Mythos, I rounded the edges of where it goes next to the lightning bolt there. You see that?
Yes.
And like that's like such a tiny thing, but now after I saw that, I'm like, well, geez, now everything needs that.
There you
go. But that's the thing that happens whenever you do this. Then I'm looking at an oracle and go, man, I need to like refresh that art,
tighten that up, bro.
So I mean, these are things that we're gonna that happens every time you do anything new. It kind of steers the ship in a way.
So
yes,
we just went over what it's supposed to sound like and what it looks like. So how did this actually come together? Like what was the first time that you said 2-in-1? We got to do it. It was probably me bothering you about it.
Well, I mean, we both.
How did this happen?
I mean, we both knew we needed to do a 2-in-1, and the community has been asking for a 2-in-1 from us for a long time, and I've done them. I did one with Ariel Posen years ago, and I made the original Hot Chicken for Carter way back.
The Airlane Drive 210.
Airlane Drive
210 is a 2-in-1.
Yeah, I mean the Seuss Mariosep, the 3-in-1, but
this is a popular category. Yeah, and as I'm sitting here and trying to figure out all the neat things that we need to do here at Mythos, I'm sitting here going like, I think this is what we need. We got to figure out how to make that happen.
When you look at the boards on Instagram or Facebook or in Premier Guitar or whatever, when you see like all the pedal boards, and a large number of them have a competitor's 2-in-1 pedal on it.
Yes.
It kind of makes you go, well, maybe we just need to suck it up and do it. So really, I mean, it's a business decision and it's smart to go this route, I think, for us because we're known for drives. But like the community, that people love 2-in-1 drives. And I think that this like really.
So let's break that down for just a quick second. Like what is the advantage to that? Like why do you think people like 2-in-1s? Why is it popular? Besides the fact that these pedals separately would cost more than the total price that we charged, probably. At least some brands don't have it that way. That's what we decided to do. But like, what do you think that is? Like, what's the gist of the 2-in-1 craze? Like, why does that work for people so well?
I think it's kind of like how you're saying. You know, it's chef's choice. It's like you have this curated thing that delivers a sound that a brand or whatever is trying to convey. Like you look at a company like Nordvang, and like every single one of their pedals is like another John Mayer song. Or part of like, you know, everything looks like it's from the Continuum era, which is cool, and I know that's a vibe.
Yeah,
but like, there's a reason why people are drawn to that because it conveys that sort of use case.
Yes,
but I think a lot of people like the convenience of like shrinking stuff on their board because even though, you know, this is by no means a small pedal, but it's smaller than two 125B enclosures right side by side.
Yes,
not by much.
Yeah.
But a little bit, and you know, it's consolidation. It has one power. It's one in and out. It's that sort of thing. And so I think I think it's a combination of a lot of stuff, but also the hype train for a lot of those pedals is pretty strong.
Choo choo.
Yeah, and I mean,
let's go.
And not without any sort of valid reason. I mean, the Duelist, I have one. It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
The Protein, you know, the ODR1 Bluesbreaker thing, people love that. So like everybody has their own like niche and void they're trying to fill. I think the thing that we're trying to convey with this is that it does all those things, but then it does more than that.
Yes.
And like, I think we've hit on something really special.
Well,
what I hope happens is all the people that make those buy one and go, damn it.
They got it. Well, and I think that like I'm going to touch on one thing you just said, and then we'll go on to the next thing. But the like you said, the chef's choice recipe, that's probably with my playing time so far with the Herculean. I've never been much of a stacker when it comes to my drives.
What about a BK stacker?
Dude, I remember the BK stacker. That thing was dope. Don't talk to me when I'm hungry. I got a Cliff Bar sitting here, and you said you can eat that right now, like right before we went on the air, and I was going to have Cliff Bar mouth, and I'll have to wait now. That sounds really good. But no, so I don't really stack that much because I run my amps hot, and I run the gain hot usually on the pedals, and so to me, stacking, I'm like, well, it's going to sound, you know, crazy if I'm stacking too much. But playing this thing and sort of going, okay, let me use these pedals as, you know, tone shaping.
Yeah.
And I ran it through my Benson, and I played the Benson just like it was my little 5-water, the Nathan Jr., and I played it just with a little bit of volume so it was clean. Then I played it gassed up so it was cranked hard, and I tried it both ways, and I was like, oh, I can run these both together on with either application.
Yeah.
And I was like, that seems like a lot, but there's so much tone at any volume and at any gain stage of this thing. And I think that's why I was really excited about it, because I feel like there's maybe specific pedals out there that people like to buy because they can stack with it and they can run them at a lower gain. And there's certain pedals that don't really sound good that way.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's bad. It's like you're buying it for a specific reason. And I think those together, which is the next part, work really well that way. And would be the number one reason to get a 2-in-1 that's from us, is that the unique combination of the two is what we're trying to get people to enjoy.
Yeah, it's got there can't be any shortcomings when you put two pedals in one box. Like if you're committing to that, you have to be so sure that those two are going to play nice together.
And how did this happen then?
Well, we sat in the floor.
We did
in here, and because we have a bunch of pedals on the shelf out there that are my collection, and you know, you have pedals, Jeff has pedals.
Yeah, there's a lot of pedals in this room.
We got a lot of pedals. Jeff has a rotating door of love pedals that he'll get and then sell. And
Jeff is the perfect customer to run things by, because he's had everything.
Yeah, he's had a lot of stuff
multiple times.
It's funny every time that Love Pedal has their weekend sale.
Yeah.
Like, did you get an amp 11 again? And he's like, yeah, I did. And then a week later, it's gone. But we just sat in the floor, and we kind of knew that the Herculean was the starting point.
Yeah, I think so.
Because all of us have, like, every time we play it, we're like, damn, this thing is like really good.
I had the Herculean as my main drive sound through the Carmen for, I don't know, at least a year and a half.
Yeah.
That's all I played for my drive tone. And so I'm like always had a soft spot for it. So
It's such a versatile thing. And like we said, at the beginning, like, I never felt like it got the attention it deserved, because the precipice of that, or the precipice of the idea, like, we could get into in a little bit, or we could talk about it now. Like, the reason I did the Herc, originally,
yes,
the Herc V2 with the 4 knobs, was because I'd had all these different pedals that I was making, and I didn't feel like any of them were as good as the Mjolnir. And so I wanted to consolidate all the things I liked about everything. Like, this was just me in a bedroom.
Yes.
I had an ODR1 thing, and I thought, well, I love the bass knob on this, but the rest of it is, it's okay. It's cool.
Yeah.
And then the Bluesbreaker thing is like, I like the clarity on this, but in the transparency, quote unquote, but there's not enough power. And then, like, Tube Screamery stuff, I like the mid forwardness, but, like, I don't want that all the time. And I literally went to Eastside and Carter and Reverb, and I bought a Tim, a Timmy, a Jan Ray. I bought a Lightspeed. I bought, like, everything. I bought a Zen Drive. I bought everything I could think of. If I didn't already have it, I went and bought it. I spent probably like $2,000 just, like, buying overdrives and stuff. It's like, I mean,
that would have been a fun day if I was working for it. I'd be like, what are you doing?
Why is the credit card so high?
What is happening? Please talk to me.
But, like, that was when I was really trying, and I poured all of what I had heard into the Herc, and I was, like, so happy with it, and it did okay, but it never, like, flew off. And then it wasn't until we did this.
That's the one I have. That's the D Herc.
The D Herc, which I thought, this thing sounds dumbly to me. So let me just make it look like a Dumble thing, and it says, level ratio and stuff, like a Dumble amp. But that got a lot more attention, but it never got its moment.
Yeah.
And I thought, we have to let people experience how good this pedal sounds without any preconceived notions of what it is or isn't.
Yes.
And so that's why I chose that. And then the Runestone, we just sat in the floor and
we tried everything with the Herc until it sounded right.
Yeah, the Bluesbreaker circuits, a bunch of different derivatives of that. We did DOD 250, Rats, like everything.
Everything.
And those two together is just like,
hey,
it's immediately right.
Yeah.
So that was all the, like, and it's so funny because it's like, that's kind of not exactly, but it's what the community was kind of telling us. Everyone had been telling me, bring back the Runestone, do a Bluesbreaker thing. You would do it well. And I'm like, no, I don't like them. And then the more I played it, I was like, oh no, this thing actually sounds really good.
It did sound really good. And I like to, like, when you take those kind of things and you put them in you put it in a new enclosure, and you get the fonts and the colors, like, that has a lot to do with just sort of the perception of it. And I think getting them together like that, we got to get these two together. And then you can, create something brand new. And honestly, as your money man, it's really dumb to be called Mythos and not have a pedal called the Herculean.
Right. It's
a name is perfect. It's wonderful. And it had to come back in some form or another eventually, just because I knew I really liked the pedal. And then also, it's just
Pops really liked the pedal.
My dad calls it the GT signature because it's literally everything that he
Guthrie
likes.
Trap.
No, the real GT's in town now. You watch it, Guthrie. Greg's going to get out there soon. No, but my dad is like, that's like 100% like his tones.
Yeah.
Everything he's ever played, the kind of tones he played. So he was like, I gave him a D-Herc, I don't know how long ago.
Yeah.
And then when I told him we were working on this, he about like fought me like to like every day, like, well, where's mine? I got to have it. And it was really nice to get that encouraging because my dad is, a seasoned veteran of the scene,
excellent
the guitar
player.
scene, and so and I like that too because I feel like, we have a lot of overdrives and we have a lot of fuzzes. We wanted to come out with something that was a little more refined.
Yeah.
It's not like a higher level. I'm not saying that like, oh, it's not better. It's just like, it's a little bit more, sometimes I play stuff and it's fuzzy and gnarly, and this makes me feel like an adult. Is that a good way to describe it, sort of?
It's the dress shirt of the Mythos lineup.
Yeah, it's got a little, it makes me feel like I got some, you know what I mean? I put on some pants.
Yeah, you got a button all the way up to the top.
Oh my God.
But I mean, moving into the next bullet point here, challenges and revisions. I mean, I went through, we joked, but this probably had the most revisions of anything I've done, save for the original Lark, which was an absolute just shit fight of a pedal. Like that one, this one's different because the Lark, it was trying to find the right overdrive portion to make that feel like a tiny.
I'm listening, I swear.
Just convicted melon over here.
Oh my God.
To make it feel like a small amp.
Yes.
And like that was the harder part on that. But on this one, it was really just like, we're going to fight as much noise as we can. We're going to get these things as efficient as possible with like how they block voltage, which is like all this stuff. Like it's the things that on paper you read that and you go, who gives a shit? But it's the things that take something from being like a good pedal to being a great pedal.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, just the amount of times I did like small revisions on this is pretty silly. Just to get it, just literally nudging it 1 or 2%. It's kind of like what we did with the Fates, but a little bit more so. And even then, when they showed up, I changed something on all the first production ones myself.
You did.
So
you did. And I think that also it's like there's a lot of areas where things can go wrong when you've got a 2-in-1 and you want everything to balance really well.
Yeah.
And spending time making sure all of the values were correct, making sure that people can have enough control over things like, tone stacks, but also making sure it always sounds good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of like nuance there that I thought you really did a good job of like making sure that it was like everything is very usable. So you can, dump the bass all the way off and it'll still sound really good.
Yeah.
But not, because some pedals that's not the case. But we wanted to have like, specific parameters that made sure that it could always sound good, but still be very usable. We didn't want it to be like, oh, this doesn't really do anything.
Yeah. And like that, I think the thing about this pedal that's so fun is how interesting or useful the tapers are. Like the taper on the gain of the Herc side.
Yes.
It's just like it's every turn you hear the gain move.
Yeah.
Which it's
you
like
worked real hard on that one.
Well, like all that took that was really important to me. And then on the Runestone side, it's an interesting thing because I wanted to stay true to what the Bluesbreaker circuit is. So all the way down, it's not as quiet as a Bluesbreaker could be.
Yeah.
But it's still quiet, so you have to compensate. But then it kind of does this thing where it's like gain, 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 and then whoom, and then at the end, it kind of feels like you've gone and put it into turbo mode or something.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Never gonna say no to anything that has turbo mode. Yeah.
But like that sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
Like we just really wanted to make it where, because I mean that's the whole thing with all our stuff. We don't want bad sounds.
No.
And like, if you put all the treble on and then crank it, it's probably going to sound pretty bright and brash. But
there might be an application where that sounds good.
Well, there's an application for everything.
But I think in general, like what we're talking about is like most use cases, like on this thing, like depending on your situation, you're not, if you run in a hot amp and you crank the gain on both sides and put it both on, what that's going to sound like.
Oh, yeah, it's just going to.
But, it's like, but we're talking about most use case scenarios. I think this is going to sound really good.
Man, that's a long commercial, isn't it?
This is what it is. This is a commercial for our new pedal. Please buy it. My kids eat a lot. You should see how much, I could not believe how much Kraft macaroni and cheese Alex can eat. She's not even one, and she's just like, just get this yellow orange mouth after.
Is she using her hands, or does she have a spoon?
She's using her hands.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I don't remember when they start using.
Sidebar. Like Graham, he was like really. He doesn't like being dirty. He's never liked being dirty.
You've gotten a lot of things that have been good for you because that boy don't want to be dirty.
He doesn't want to be dirty.
My kids clearly are cool with it. So
yeah, so he was like really early using utensils.
But but I need to buy a lot of. I'm gonna upgrade to Annie's, and that's what I want. get that mac and cheese. So yeah, we got to sell these things. I got to feed these kids. Jeff's got to feed these kids.
No more good value.
No more good value. Yes, but yeah, I think it is like if people knew, I mean, obviously we want to say if people knew the work that we put into this pedal, but it is like we could have released it 3-4 months ago if we really wanted to.
Yeah.
And we just kept working on it until it was right.
Yeah, it felt right. I mean, and to that end, we chose to use different foot switches for this one to keep it. We're using an alpha switch. I wonder if you could hear it. Okay, so here's like the normal switch. Here's an alpha. So it has, you can't.
Excuse me.
That may be a very dumb experiment.
That was riveting podcasting right there.
But, okay. I mean, we'll see. We'll listen to the playback. But it
I love it.
Like the alpha doesn't have as much, it's a lot harder to push, but then it doesn't have as much like mechanical noise. And some pedals, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It does, it's like it turns it on or off. It doesn't matter. But in this one, we wanted to make sure it's like, as best we can, reduce all that stuff. And, there's a lot of moving parts in this thing. I mean, literally there's moving parts inside it. It has relays, which are literally move inside it. So I wanted to do my due diligence. So I hope it all pans out. We'll find out in a month or two.
Yes. There you go.
We'll see.
So we got through all that stuff, what the pedal's all about, how we came together and how we made it. How we doing? Yay. Okay. So who is this for? Who do we want to buy this pedal? Who are we excited to get this hands? Everybody listening, obviously, if you're already listening to this, then you're a myth head, you're a PPPer, all those things. Committed. You're committed to the cause. We hope you check this thing out. But what was the thought process there? Like, how do you envision people using this thing?
Well, every time we played it, we were like, this just sounds good. And then I think NAMM was such a affirming experiment.
Yeah.
Very expensive way to get affirmation. But I think that it really does scratch the itch of most guitar players' overdrive needs. Because if you want like thick, syrupy, Robin Ford-esque lead stuff, you can get it. If you want John Mayer in a box, you can get it. If you want Stevie Ray Vaughan, you can get it. It can do all these different tones.
Yes.
Really, really quickly. I think it doesn't take like a long time to dial it in. It's just twist, 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 and you're there. So if you like overdrive, there's no reason not to try this.
Yes.
If you want a 2-in-1 pedal. The only thing that and this is something that I put in the, why I made this, the caveat, you can't split out each side to make it independent. And the thought is that we designed these two pedals to go together.
Yes.
So don't split them apart.
Yeah, and maybe doing it if you did a 2-in-1 where things were, a little bit more like, hey, we're just putting two pedals together.
Yeah.
And hopefully you like both, and we're not necessarily intending for you to run them together. Obviously you can use these ones independently of each other. If you just, it's not only just together, but that was the goal of it, was for that to also sound really good.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that people have asked is, are they independent? Yes, they're both independent. You can use each side by itself. It's not like a channel switching thing like the Vipera was, but or is. But I think if you have this size space on your board, or you can make that size space, and you want to like get rid of like 2 or 3 overdrives, I think you can. Yeah.
Or if maybe you don't have anything like this.
Yeah.
Like you don't have anything, because that's sort of like, and to get to the last point that I have, I said, like, the thing that I'm really excited about is talking to people how they're going to use it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. How do you Herc?
How do you Herc?
How do you Herc? Working on that, workshopping that. I think that's pretty good. But like, I actually don't, since I took the D Herc off my board and I had put the Airlane Drive or the 210 on my board, I realized that I didn't really have anything like this.
Yeah.
And the 210 sort of enhances the tweed sort of saggy kind of rough and tumble tones that I'm already getting.
Yeah.
And then I can put this guy on here to kind of up my game, tighten the bass up, get a little more refined so I can get a little bit more of like 80s tones like ZZ Top or Judas Priest or Van Halen, which I really can't do with my current setup.
No.
And I think that's what's exciting for me is to take something like that and to get like very natural amp like drive sounds and add it to my arsenal. And I have my core sound, which sounds like me, so I can do some sloppy Queens of the Stone Age and Black Keys. But then I can add this when I want to kind of do that other thing. And it's a great, easy way to do it, and that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's very...
That's how I herc.
The compression under your fingers on it, even when you don't have it like super compressed, like it's very obvious. It feels like you're playing an amp turned up.
Yes.
It's just
100%.
how it feels under your fingers.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited. We're going to figure out how do you herc, and we're going to have...
Yeah, I want people to share with us. We'll get into that once people can start playing them. I'm very excited to sort of see how people use this thing.
Yeah. But I'm excited. So go. I mean, they're going to be at the majority of our dealers. And if it's not there and they haven't ordered it, go pester them. Say, hey,
where's your
store? Where's your Herculean Deluxe Overdrive?
Yeah. It's really nice that you say that because I'm still going to call it the Big Herc forever.
I know it's hard not to call. I mean, like I've called these the Herc, like since I made the first Herculean.
Oh, I'm so round.
Probably in probably 2011 or 12.
Yeah.
So I've called it the Herc.
Yeah.
For like years and years.
Yes.
So yeah, it's really hard not to call it the Big Herc, but yeah, it's the Herculean Deluxe.
Yeah. As soon as we had decided that it was going to be a 2-in-1 in the Herculean,
I just thought of the best colorway.
Whoa.
Okay.
What are you going to do?
Keep talking. I'm not going to.
Well, I was going to say was that like instantly, I called it before we had even picked the second side. We had to call it the Big Herc, and I actually pushed pretty hard to just call the pedal the Big Herc, which you did not want to do, and you were right, of course, because I love it. We'll keep that to ourselves. You were right, of course, because I think it's more fun to call it the Herculean Deluxe, and then just call it the Big Herc.
Yeah, I think it's like if it can have a nickname, then it's kind of made it, right?
I think so. Absolutely. No. I agree.
It's like if you call a guitar by a nickname, if it's like it's so like synonymous, like
just say Pearly,
like Chippy,
Chippy. I mean, Chippy and Pearly. It's like they're both iconic guitars in our chosen profession.
Oh,
but no,
man.
I just like me. I always go for the joke first.
Yeah,
that's my maybe my biggest fault in life is that I go for the joke too quick, which is fine. But I think it was fun seeing people already like at NAMM and in comments calling it the Big Herc.
Big Herc.
And I'm like, yes. So as long as that kind of sticks around, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I think I've always enjoyed calling it the Herc, and I've called it the Herc for so long that it's probably gonna. I mean, even if you called it the Herc Deluxe, like that's still like
cool.
Herc is a great name.
Yeah.
So. I don't know.
So is the Arch Deluxe.
Oh man,
which I like to bring up as well.
Man, we're so hungry.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna eat those other 2 pieces of pizza.
Both of them?
I brought 4 pieces today, and I said I was only gonna eat 2.
Let's have your Cliff Bar and see how it sits.
Okay.
So go check it out at mythospedals.com. Go to your dealers and hit them up. Your pedal dealers and hit them up about checking one out. But we have some other news for things that are happening in the coming
what is that?
Weeks.
Did I not put that on there?
No, I just thought of it. We're gonna go to the Amigo.
Oh yeah, that's
Amigo.
Right. I forgot to tell you, I got permission from my wife.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Because we booked it, and then I forgot that I hadn't even brought it up to her, and I said I could do it. Which I don't think she was gonna say that no, but it was probably dumb to not tell her that I had to work Saturday and Sunday before we booked it. Well, we're good.
Well, and I booked it, and then I forgot my wife's going to be out of town, so we were going to have to board the dog. But
I think we bring Fraser.
No, he'd be a lot. But anyway, March 22nd through the 24th. Wait, 23rd and the 24th.
Yes.
22nd is setup day. 23rd through the 24th in Franklin, Tennessee at, I don't know, you can look it up, Amigo Guitar Show. We're going to have a table, and we're going to bring, not only are we going to take all the pedals for people to try, we're going to take some deals, build up some stuff.
We'll have some B-stock.
Yep.
We'll have some rando stuff. We might sell some guitars, too. Personal guitars of ours that we're ready to blow out. You never know.
Yeah. So we're going to take a bunch of stuff and just be hanging out, me and Matthew and probably Jeff. Jeff might not be there as much as we will.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I would like to make basically have a cash in, cash out situation where we sell stuff, and then as soon as we sell, we go buy things.
We go walk the floor.
And we just how much we got, and then we just keep buying things. So we are as net zero.
We just put them back in our booth to sell.
No, but it's a net zero at the end. So we can just whatever we sell, then we can just go buy things.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun.
No, I mean that's how I normally treat my finances, right? But yeah, that's going to be really fun. So I mean, this is 2024. So whenever you're listening to this, if you missed it, sorry. But I think that's it. This is the year that we try to do more stuff like this.
Yeah, it's enjoyable to get out there and see people. We loved the CME event last year.
Yeah,
that was really fun, and then NAMM went really well. So we're going to try to do as many as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So okay, we haven't done this in a minute, Matthew.
What are you buying?
Okay.
What are you selling?
Okay. I am buying and selling something.
Holy shit.
Okay, so you know how
Me too.
I did a bad thing. I went to the I think we talked about this on the live stream, but maybe I can't. I have to buy a Casadosa baritone. I have to have one.
Have to.
I played it at Carlos's house. Shout out to Carlos. Thanks for having me and Jeff over. And I have to have one. So they're not the most affordable guitars. They're not. You get what you pay for. They're wonderful. They're fantastic. So I got to sell something, and the PRS special is going to have to go. And I'm really sad about it.
You're still going to bring it here and let me play it because
I know. I absolutely love that guitar, but I've realized. Over the years, it's there's so long in my guitar career where I've only played one guitar.
Yeah.
And I'm so used to that that's what I really like. I really like playing one guitar. And I feel like that the Casadosa, which I have, which is a wrap tail, 2 humbucker, semi-hollow guitar, and then the special, which is it's 2 humbuckers. There's a middle position, but it's a semi-hollow. And it's got a trem, so there is something different there, but I haven't touched it since I got the Casadosa. And
will you regret it? You think?
Yes, 100%.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
I hate regretting gear, moving it on.
I think I'll regret it. Here's what I'll say. I asked you this after I played the baritone, and I said, which one do you think I would play more?
Oh, yeah.
And you said the baritone.
Yeah.
And Jeff said the baritone. And Jeff heard me play it. And so Jeff, just asked Jeff when you see him. And I talked to my dad, and he's like, oh, yeah, you'll play the baritone. Instantly, I knew that was the sound I had to have. Mm. But when I say regret, it's mostly because of how much I love Paul. And I love
it's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Paul. I'm selling my guitar. And I think that I just love PRS so much as a company, and I love the guitars, but I have a McCarty, and it sounds great.
That Paul picked out the top.
Paul picked out the top, and it's an amazing guitar for me.
It is.
And I have an amazing, my dad bought it for me. It's got such a great story with me quitting smoking and the tobacco sunburst and all that it's sentimental. And this new guitar, the special, is great. I really like it, but there's nothing necessarily sentimental about it.
Yeah.
I just really like it. I love the trem. And I think it's great. And would I love to have enough money to be able to not have to sell gear to buy gear? Well, wouldn't that be great? Mm-hmm. But I don't know how much money I would have to have before. I mean,
it doesn't.
It's I'm not that person.
It's in your person. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. You could, be just, money falling out of your pockets, and you still be like, that's just too much.
It is, and it's I want something I think that I would play a lot more, and I think obviously the baritone I'd play a lot more. So I'll regret it in the sense that I like PRS and I love Paul and I love that whole thing, but I don't think it's that specific guitar. I think it sounds great, but it's PRS, man. I know if I get another one in a couple of years, it's going to be.
It'll be better, probably.
It'll be better. So I'm cool with that in that sense. So
they'll make an SE in a couple of years, and then you can have.
We just need to sell a lot of Hercs, so I can just buy more gear and not have to sell stuff.
That's right.
Maybe I'll still probably feel weird about it.
So
that's big. I know it's big. So if anybody you've seen it on my gram, write me and I'll give you a good deal. Not too good of a deal, because I need some money.
A reasonable deal.
But yes, that's what I'm getting.
I'm selling the Blue Strat. I took the Mythos pickups out of it because I only have one set left. It's just those. So they're currently in one of Jeff's guitars.
Yes.
But at least I know where they are, right? But I'm selling that. I'm going to sell the SE PRS Mira. Yeah. I never bonded with that guitar.
Weird neck.
Kind of a weird neck. And
used to it,
every time we took it places, people just didn't want to play it. And now that I have the 594 SE and the Silver Sky, it's those are the show guitars.
Yeah.
And they're fabulous. I can't fault there's nothing. I can say nothing wrong about those guitars. So I'm going to sell those. I might start selling some amps because I had an amp show up Friday.
Wow. We did.
And it's the most incredible thing. So at NAMM, Eli Mack and company from Two Rock lent us a Studio Signature, a little white combo.
Beautiful.
It was awesome. Just immediately we plugged it up and immediately all three of us were like, that's like the best sounding little amp I've ever heard. And so Eli came by, he heard me play it. He loved like the sound of the pedals through it, and he said that that amp sounds really good. Do you want to take it home? And I was like, I can't take it home. Like I'm flying. I already have 2 guitars that I'm flying with and all this stuff. I can't. But thank you. And I didn't think anything of it. And then we were here Friday, and the UPS man walks in with a big box, and he said, "Did you buy another Proton pack?"
You're like, probably,
which was funny. And we opened it up, and it was that Studio Sig, and I text Eli about it. And he said, "Man, as soon as I heard you play it, I realized that was not mine anymore. That was yours."
Wow.
And
terrific.
So kind. And so I'm going to use that. It's at the house. I'm going to try to play it more at home. And it's definitely going to be something that I could see always taking to any event because it's just the perfect grab and go for a pedal like demo platform.
Awesome.
It's incredible.
Context. Yeah.
So I'm really excited to have it, but I need to probably move some of my other non Two Rock.
Yeah, we're
amps.
getting a little
getting a little tight in here.
We're getting a little tight.
So probably my little Ampeg, then my little brown panel clone, and maybe some other stuff. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I'm not. Am I buying anything? I don't think I'm buying anything. We're trying to decide on the next guitar. So comment section.
Yeah.
Next guitar that you want to see us do a mod video about.
Yes.
Put it in there.
There you go.
That's the next thing. But anyway, big Herculean Deluxe, out in the universe.
So excited. Hope everybody's got theirs. If you don't have it, order it today. Listen to some sound clips.
Yeah.
Because your other video is up right now.
Should be.
And we're doing a little bit different of a strategy this time. A little more long tail.
Yeah. Love a long tail.
I love a long tail. I know that's my favorite marketing term. The only one I know is the long tail, where we want this to there's a lot of pedals that come out and they have all the videos or day one.
Yeah. We're
going to stretch things out a little bit. Think of some really cool things that we can do over the next couple months to sort of promote this thing. Cause it's we feel like a lot of what's going to be really great about this, as we talked about earlier, how do you Herc, which is how people use it, all the things that people are going to discover. I'm excited to sort of work a little closer with some of the people that we send it to, just to talk to them about it. Like, what do you think? How are you using it? And not just like, here's a demo and then that's it. It's more just we want it to be represented a little bit stronger on how we feel it should be used.
Yeah, and
that's the best way to put it. Like just a little bit more care in that.
Yeah, and I feel like that strategy is kind of what we tried with the Fates, and it's you see there's like a cyclical thing that happens with videos and stuff, but it keeps customers engaged and keeps you guys aware of it.
Yeah.
And so we're just gonna try this and just trickle it out, but hopefully if you guys get one, if you get any of our pedals and you make like a clip or something and put it on social media, please tag us. And I love sharing that stuff when I can. Sometimes it's like I'm just inundated and I can't. But yeah, I love seeing it. So please, demos do not just belong to professional pedal demo people. They belong to everybody on social media. That's what the platform is for. So make some content.
And honestly, I think it's even better because you're going to use it how it's intended, which is like with your sound.
Yeah.
You bought it to solve a problem, which is I need more gear.
Yeah.
That's usually the problem that you're trying to solve, or that there's sounds that you're not getting, or you need a drive section. You need something to sort of like kind of what happened to me. You need something to kind of shore that part of it up. But like that's who we really want to hear from, because then you'll inspire us to really understand what the pedal's all about.
Yep,
which is really cool.
Okay, well, like we said at the beginning, like, comment, subscribe, do all those things.
Yeah,
we'll catch you on the next one.
That's it. Let's go. Woo, Herc.